Welcome back, Guardian. So those of you who know me know that I love rocket launchers, and we got a controlled environment where we can actually test the blast radius of each rocket launcher, going from the smallest tier blast all the way to the top tier, just to kind of see exactly what the blast radius is doing from a measured standpoint in the Tribute Hall. I don't like to use the Tribute Hall for a lot of stuff, especially builds, because the readings aren't as exact as it is in actual combat, and you can make some pretty sick builds in the Tribute Hall, but they don't really perform like that out in the real world, such as when you put Doomfangs on with the Titan, you can never run out of super here. It'll last for hours. Like, you can just keep hitting ads and it'll keep charging over and over. I'll show you a glimpse of that at the end of the video. But we can see from ad to ad, it's going to be roughly a 10 meter circumference for the blast radius we're going to be testing in this area. So let's start it off with the Curtain Call, which is a year 1 rocket launcher, but it's compared to what is nowadays the Bad Omens. Same stats pretty much, same blast radius. So we're going to use this. I don't have any other low blast in my vault because I don't carry low blast around with me. I just don't really like them for this fact alone. They don't do a lot of blast radius. They used to be good on single targets when you had Lunafaction and Rally Barricade, but now with the nerf of those, Field Prep and Cluster is actually faster DPS, and the velocity doesn't equal more damage output. It is more damage when you hit a direct target with any rocket, but the velocity doesn't play in how much damage it does. All rockets do the same blast when you hit a target directly on, unless it's a proximity rocket, like Truth or something like that. But you can see right here the damage on this. I actually didn't summon brand new ads. These are the same ads from the first rocket, it just didn't kill them again. Because of the low blast radius on it, it's about 3 meters is where you get all your impact. Outside that, it's pretty weak. Now let's move on to the second tier, Zenobia D. So Zenobia D is 1 tier up. It's not very much blast radius, but when it comes to Zenobia type rockets, these are used for tracking and single targets, so you're not going to clear a ton of ads with these kind of rockets. If you shoot it in the group of them without hitting them direct on, it's about the same as Curtain Call, a little bit more. We actually did kill the red dog this time when Curtain Call couldn't even do that. And then we have that guy in a finishing state, and then these 2 orange bars are still kind of, halfway health or more basically. Now let's move on to 1 tier up, the Shining Sphere. This rocket does about as much blast as the Two-Tailed Fox, but Two-Tailed is kind of in its own little realm of rockets in its blast. And then the Wardcliff Coil is similar to Zenobia, but we know that's full of shit, because Wardcliff will blast a whole group of ads and tear them to pieces, which we're not even going to test that. We're just testing the blast radius with regular type of rockets. But this tier of rocket is almost like Max Blast. We'll see on the first one that it killed the orange bar and killed 1 of the red bars. And then we have that one almost at a killed state, and then this one about half health at the orange bar. So let's do this rocket blast again. I'm going to wipe all these ads and start it over with the fresh group and shoot it again to see what it does. And this time it kills 2 of the red bars and then leaves the orange bar with about half health, which is what I expect out of this type of rocket. It's not overkill for blast radius, but it does do a good grip. And depending on what kind of perks you can get with this, it might not be bad at all. You always want to go with that high handling, because that gives you the more ready aim fire speed that much quicker, which is great when you're on the fly. Now let's go to Roar of the Bear, which is one of the higher handling rockets in the game with the highest max blast radius almost. And we're also going to test a even more max blast than this later on to see what the difference is. So first shot with this one, you'll notice immediately when you use these type of rockets, they have the quickest ready aim fire speeds than any other type of rockets. This one and Sleepless, or if you're using Blue Shift from year 1, or if you're using the Strange Terrain rocket, Braytech Osprey, which used to be the highest handling rocket in the game until the Sleepless came out with Field Prep Cluster, Alloy Casing, and Quick Launch, which gives it around 92 to 95% handling, which is the faster you can get it up, ready, and fired, and also the Alloy Casing reload, so it's the fastest reload and on-the-move fly rocket for agility and accuracy. But as far as non-cluster rockets, like you can't get clusters with Roar of the Bear, this is probably the best non-cluster rocket you can get. So if you currently need a good solo rocket, Roar of the Bear is probably the way to go. Field Prep and Kill Clip or something like that. But you can see it kills all ads except for the 2 orange bars, but it leaves them with 1 shot left to go. But let's go move on now to my favorite rocket, Sleepless. Like I said, that handling on it is supreme, and I farmed so freaking much just to try to get this rocket launcher, and the day that it dropped was one of my happiest Destiny moments. And now you're going to see this one in action, and then we're going to go to the one that I used to use, which actually has more than max blast radius because it's masterworked, but it's almost max blast to begin with. So we're going to go to that one next, and you can see the damage on this one, not counting if the clusters randomly hit these. It would have killed them if the clusters would have landed, but they're pretty much already dead. And then you can see the first shot from the Roar of the Bear, it had this much health on it, and then the second shot we're going to do it again, and then we're going to test it against the second shot with Roar of the Bear to see where it's at. Like I was saying earlier, when it comes to overall damage output, whether it's to a boss or to a group of ads, doing on-the-fly reload that Field Prep and Cluster, if you haven't learned how to do that yet, all you do is you crouch, reload, and jump, every time you land with that rocket, and it keeps doing outlaw style reload over and over. You can see the damage differences again versus Roar of the Bear's second shot. They're honestly about the same, but you get that factor of some of those clusters could be hitting those ads and killing them, overall doing group damage, and to do more boss DPS. And now we're going to go to the very max blast you can get. It's even got a masterwork 4 blast radius going more than what it says it is. And you can see the damage on this is almost just a micro pinch of health left. And then we're going to compare it to the shots on the other Sleepless with just the handling masterwork. And you can see what that max blast radius will do. Just that much more damage compared to this Sleepless. It's really not much at all, but you can actually tell the difference when you put it in a test environment, exactly how much more you're getting in damage, and that's again why I use the handling versus the one with the max blast. Even though the max blast one is pretty clutch right here, takes out every ads including one orange bar, and then leaves the other one with hardly any health left. So you do get something out of that max blast radius, but I like the on the fly and being just that much quicker with my ready aim speed and that more accurate with that handling masterwork, which is why I use that one now. But when it comes to rocket launchers nowadays, they're really meant for mass ad clearing and not as much as they are for bosses nowadays. And so if you're an ad clearer on your team, you want to be well equipped with a great rocket launcher to take more ads out per rocket, to save you ads and to save you time in clearing the ads. And that's what you get out of the Sleepless Fill Prep Cluster, which can be farmed in the Menagerie. You can dial it in on the rune system and try to farm it as much as you want. It's really worth it once you get it. I can't explain it until you actually play with it yourself. It really just flies right as soon as you pull the trigger. There's no delay in it at all. It pops right up and it's ready to go. And the way that you aim it around, especially on a control and console, it's just really smooth and a really precise rocket launcher. I'll put a link at the end of this video if you've never seen my Why This Rocket Sucks video, where I compared a ton of different rockets and also teach how to do the on-the-fly reload with the fill prep and cluster, because once you learn how to do outlaw style reload and get that max blast radius and that pinpoint accuracy using the quick launch and the highest handling you can get, you just really don't want to play with any of the rocket regardless of what other perks it has, not counting the fact that fill prep gives you one extra rocket. And when you can reload and be on the fly with that much damage, it really makes it great for champions or really any boss target in the game because of how fast you can get the damage out. The reload that I'm doing right now is just the alloy casing, but if you want to watch that Why These Rockets Suck video, you can see it with the fill prep reload, especially when you're on the move with it. It's really insane to have that kind of damage, I'm telling you. But anyways, I'm going to go ahead and let this ride out. This is the Braytech Osprey. You can also farm this one from the Knocker's Nightfall. It does the same blast radius as the one that I was using with the handling masterwork. And if you didn't know about velocity in PvE especially, it's hardly noticeable at all. I might say use it in Crucible, but I really just don't like it at all because if you compare side by side the Curtain Call, which is almost max velocity, versus the Sleepless, which is like a mid-range, they're almost identical side by side comparison, which I also showed that in that rocket video as well. But I'm going to let this ride out and show you how you can actually have infinite supers in the Tribute Hall, which is a prime example of why when I do any kind of build video, I don't really like to show gameplay in the Tribute Hall because charge times and just how you get things back don't play anything like they do in the actual real world, especially in harder activities in like Master Nightfalls and stuff. Tribute Hall is just not somewhere you want to do your building and try to figure a charge time out. But anyways, if you like rockets as much as I do, hopefully that video had some use for you. I just think rockets are the greatest ad clear weapons, which is the most fun role to play in my opinion, what I like to do in the game. So hopefully you got some use out of that. Hit subscribe if you want to see more videos, and I'll see you all in the next video next time.
In space.